As we come to a close this month, let's get cozy and reflect together. So, August has been all about personal power. And to me, that manifests as leaning into the unknown, caring less about what people think in the pursuit of freedom of my own self expression, and attracting unaligned community. So, the vision I set for myself at the beginning of the month is really three sections. It's where I started, where I want to be at the end of the month, and all the behavioral changes that I plan to make to help me get there. So, this is literally what I wrote for my August vision at the beginning of the month. Where I am now. My health has returned, yet I find myself spread thin, energy leaking into tasks that don't align with my true desires. I create from a place of fear and scarcity, allowing others' reactions to dictate my path. My self-care routines, meditations, walks, movement have fallen by the wayside. Trust and confidence waver, and follow through falters. Where I want to be. I move with intention, focusing my energy on what matters most. Busy work is a thing of the past as I align my actions with my deepest desires. Others' opinions no longer sway me. I live confidently guided by my inner wisdom. My old limiting programs have melted away, replaced by courage and unwavering self-trust. My spirit overflows with such abundance that self-sabotaging behaviors have no place in my life. I am now fully engaged in creating the life I envision. The 3 action steps for the month are daily meditations, weekly pole class or a dance class, and creating and posting 3 YouTube videos. And so I wanted to share one of my lessons that I learned. And one of the lessons of August was leaning into the unknown. It's so important to set a foundation for yourself. So building this vision and writing down my action steps and my vision for the beginning of the month is such an important process. But it really is just a framework and a blueprint. It's not the full finished picture or the masterpiece. A lesson I've learned is to not worry so much about planning everything out to the T. The way you would go to a coffee shop and ask to leave some room for milk, that's kind of how I see this, is just leave some room for some milk, some sugar, some honey, or something sweet, right? You just want to leave some room so that your cup is not at the start already full and possibly spill and create chaos and mess. So leaving some breathing room is so important in your plans. Even when you're trying to manifest something in your life, the vision doesn't have to be fully complete. And that's a lesson that I keep learning over and over, and something that I feel like this month has really cemented for me. I also stopped thinking that knowing things, exactly how things are going to work out, is beneficial for me in some way. Like the mystery of life and just having curiosity and confusion is also part of life and part of being human. And some of the best parts of life that I've experienced is when life throws you a plot twist. A hard lesson that I have also learned is about leaning into the unknown is how I feel when I consume too much. So when I'm overstimulating my nervous system and having to course correct. And this month has been a lot of moments of doom scrolling, and I feel a little bit of shame sharing that, but I also know that that's something that a lot of people struggle with. But reminding myself that the confusion that I feel is not permanent, right? It's a temporary state, and it's coming from a specific behavior. So when I'm over consuming information, it's creating this lack of harmony. It's creating this confusion because I'm putting in too much information into my nervous system, and I'm not able to like process things and figure things out, and I lose a sense my self identity, and my it's hard to figure out what to do with your life when you're just consuming and consuming, and then you feel kind of shitty as a creator, being like, who am I as a creative? Who am I as a creator? Because I'm just spending so much time inputting and not enough time outputting. So the lesson here is that it's not permanent, right? That state is not permanent. Focus on celebrating that awareness of when you finally regain consciousness and you're like, okay, I'm going to snap back. And there's always a menu of things you can do to help regulate your nervous system again. And for me, a lot of it has been just going back into nature and making sure I'm not spending too much time indoors or at home, just like ruminating on thoughts or self-loathing for creating those habits. Another thing that's helpful for me lately to course correct is, again, like the playfulness of it all. Like your self-regulation menu doesn't have to always be super serious and intense. Like, there are so many beautiful practices, but something that's helped me has just been listening to like old 90s and early 2000 records and songs that I grew up with, music videos that I ate up as a kid with watching with my sister. And so I was like literally just blasting like Mariah Carey music videos, like all the 90s and early 2000 videos, blasting We Belong Together, blasting Heartbreaker, Honey, Fantasy, Always Be My Baby, and just like literally the music brought me back to this state of playfulness and creativity, and just brought so much joy, and it helped like me regulate back into a state that felt good. So yeah, Mariah Carey videos just hit differently, and just like playing, just Janet Jackson, TLC, and like all the good stuff, and reminding me of a time when I wasn't plugged into my phone, but just enjoying all these beautiful things. So in an ironic way, like the social media and access to YouTube helps me tap back into these like old archives of myself, and music is such a beautiful space of memory. So being able to rewatch those old videos and dance around like a fool is just part of my expression of myself and part of loving myself. Let's talk about one way August helped me level up. So I was talking to my husband and I asked him, what do you think would help me level up this month? And he, without even a beat, just had the answer just roll off his tongue, which really surprised me, but also helped me be like, ooh, that hit. What he said was, stop caring about what other people think so you can get on with your life. And I was just so taken aback by his clarity of that answer. And it was like, he didn't know that kind of stuff was ruminating in my head, and stuff that I was like struggling with currently. And that just goes to show the importance of having a really trusting relationship in your life. Because I don't like asking people for advice, but he just said something that was so clear in what I was expressing, and I was writing pages and pages. He said it in one sentence, and I was like, boom, that's it. What's funny about not caring about what people think is that it's not about them as much it is about you. You are actually the obstacle, like the one who cares so much about what other people think. We're afraid of the external critic, but the reality is that it's the internal critic, the internal voice, that shadow voice within us that is actually holding us back. What this level up brings up for me is the fear of being seen. And so how I've been able to challenge that reality for me has been through social media and dance classes. So in dance classes, I tend to usually want to pick a spot in the back or in the corner, a dark spot where, the teacher can't really see me, where, if we break out into performance groups or share outs and stuff, I just want to kind of like, I'm that meme, that Simpsons Homer meme of him like just slowly hiding into the, like falling into the bushes and just like, I'm not here. That's the kind of default that I go for in dance classes. But this month I challenged myself and my fear of being seen by literally picking positions that I would never normally pick, which is like front row, middle, like right by the teacher. And what's funny is like I can actually learn the choreography properly because I can see the teacher like right next to me and in the mirror, and it helps me learn and memorize choreography, which is something I struggle with a lot as a freestyle dancer. And just like help me build that confidence. It's not that I all of a sudden became a better dancer or better, like technically in any way. It's just literally that shift of like coming to the front and being like planting my feet down and saying like, I'm here, I'm taking up space, I'm ready to like fucking go. That has been such a beautiful way of working through that fear. And also just like not giving a fuck anymore on social media, posting what I want to post, posting the things in my drafts that I, normally would just keep living in the drafts and rotting in the drafts, like just pushing them out and being like, it doesn't matter about the aesthetic. It doesn't matter about if this was a bad day for me and I don't feel confident about my body, or I don't feel confident about something about this piece of content that I'm over criticizing, and just pushing it out and knowing that the success is not about how many comments I get, how many views I get. It's literally, I've succeeded if I press post and I've walked away. And it's just getting into the habit that's helped me practice like not giving a fuck about what other people think, just doing me and making a fool of myself and being okay with that, because I've already gotten the ROI. The ROI is literally pressing post and moving on with my life and knowing that I've put it out, it's no longer mine, and now I can just move on to creating the next thing. Now I want to share about August love. This is the part of the story that I want to kind of bring back to the beginning about like the importance of leaning into the unknown and leaving room for milk. So I didn't realize that I needed community so much, but I realized that when I've been doing my meditations, what kept coming up, the more I silenced all the kind of noise and I was able to sort through all the mental clutter in my brain, just kept coming up that feeling that I had and that truth that I knew but I hadn't confronted in a long time, which was I don't have any friends. And granted, I've moved to a new city. I've just been in Charleston for less than a year now, and I can make all the excuses in the world. But to be honest, I don't have any active friends in my life. A lot of the friends are more just like texting or phone calls, like once in a blue moon. But just like my heart and my soul and my spirit was just like craving and yearning for real friendship that was consistent and solid, and something that was just like real life, like flesh friendship and community. And that's like what I've been missing. I struggle a lot with depression, and depression can feel very self-centered and ego-driven because we spend, like, when I'm depressed, I just go into my shell and I hide from the world. And that's how I cope with depression. And sometimes that can be very helpful in certain moments, and sometimes it can be very self-destructive. This year mainly has been about just showing up for myself. And what I realized and what was the unexpected this month was when I show up for myself, I will find other people who show up for themselves and are on the same vibration as me looking for that same feeling of acceptance and community. I am usually the floater friend in a lot of groups. I'm the Sagittarius, so I really like being alone and being independent and floating around. I don't like being tied down by seeing the same person all the time or talking to the same person all the time. And another thing about friendship is that I never want to force it. I never want to chase friends. And I've been guilty of that in the past, of like trying to chase after the idea of certain people. And we talk a lot about, that through the lens of romantic relationships and finding a partner, of like, don't chase, attract. But it's the same energetics and the same principles like really apply to friendships as well, in any relationship. In the past few years, when I was struggling mentally and dealing with a lot of my own trauma and not fully grasping, where I wasn't in a strong nervous system place. I was attracting a lot of the wrong people. And I spent so much time like ruminating. If I like met someone, like ruminating, like, oh, do they have the right intentions? Like, like the Bachelorette, like the Bachelor, like, are they here for the right reasons and all of that? And I would always spend so much time like, being like, oh, like, is this friends like really the right person I should be spending time with? And now it's like so simple and so easy. I just look at my body and I focus on what my body feels like when I'm around a person. So if I'm meeting someone new, it's as simple as, does my body contract or does it expand? So if it's contracting and it's like, like you feel that little ick or that restraint or that contraction in your body, it's just your intuition, your spirit saying like, this person's not for me. And if you feel expansive, if you feel energized by a person, spending time with them like just inspires you and makes you feel so much more yourself and really comfortable and at ease, and you can kind of lean back and open up your shoulders and open up your heart, then that person is someone you want to spend more time with. So it's become really simple for me to navigate like who's for me, who's not for me. Also, when you're a magnetic being and you're working on yourself and you're really like, you have an aura that's trying to radiate positivity, you're gonna attract a lot of people naturally. And so it's important to be able to discern between like, who are those people who are right for you, and be very selective. It's okay to be selective about who you allow into your orbit. Like, that's such a sacred space. And so like, be mindful of that and know that you don't have to say yes to every like rando that wants to just walk on by and climb onto your aura coattails and be part of your life. Like, you don't need to let everyone in. I was meditating, and this kind of need for friendship, need for community and sisterhood just kept coming up over and over. I felt like there was a deficiency there, and I was like really, really searching for something that would help help feed that desire. And that wasn't on my vision. That wasn't part of the plan necessarily or the blueprint of the month, but it just kept coming up, and I kept showing up, doing the actions, doing the behaviors, showing up to dance classes. And one of the girls in a dance class that has asked me time and time again, like, hey, we should get together. And I've like always kind of been just so like scared to like be seen by a person and like make new friends that I just kind of kept like brushing it off, being like, yeah, let's do it, but like not actually actively making plans. Like, I just went up to her and I was like, hey, like, let's exchange numbers and actually get together this time. And I was like, I'm sorry if like I was wishy-washy before, but I'd love to hang out with you. And we exchanged numbers, and I remember like texting her and trying to figure out like plans to like get together one-on-one, and scheduling wise things were not falling into place. But she just like said like, hey, this doesn't work for me, but I'm actually organizing this brunch with like 10 other women from the dance classes, the hip hop classes we go to on Tuesday night. And we're doing a brunch on Sunday. Like, why don't you come? And I said yes. I just immediately, like, my body, full body yes. I was like, yes. But on the inside, I was like, oh God, like 10 people I don't know. Like, this is so much more than I like bargained for. I just like wanted to hang out with one person and be friends with this one person. And here I am now with 11. And I just trusted that yes, that full body yes, and I went with it. I showed up to the brunch and I just was like, I had the fucking best time. Like, honestly, I had such a great time because I showed up with just zero expectations, but just like heart open. And I was like, I was asking for this. I was like, during the month, like the month has just kind of unfolded and given me what I wanted that I didn't even ask for, because it knows that like the universe, God, like the creator all knows that like, hey, I needed community, I needed support. And it was just the best time. Like, we went around and everyone was like just being so vulnerable and sharing and opening up, and that allowed me to share and open up and like show up without a mask on, like without, like, not an actual physical COVID mask. I mean, like those like masks that we wear that we have to perform and be a certain way and be impressive when we meet new people. And I was just like, here, this is who I am. Like, I dance because it's medicine, and I struggle with depression, and I have been, craving community. And this month has just surprised me in so many ways. I feel like even being invited to this brunch was such an unexpected surprise blessing, and I'm so grateful to be here. And just sitting back and hearing other people share their stories, it was just so beautiful. It was just such a real experience and real exchange, and everyone was just so loving and so kind. And I feel so full and so grateful that one kind of trust that I had just to that yes led to so many things. And is, again, just a reminder, don't worry about having your plans like for the month or the year like look perfect. Just let yourself be surprised. Leave room for sweetness. I'm also so curious to know, like, what are the reflections and revelations you've had this month? And what are the seeds that you are going to plant and water for the next? And if no one's told you today, you are loved, you are beautiful, you are deserving of taking up space, and your spirit is capable of the most extraordinary things. I love you so deeply, and we'll talk soon.